Hello, everyone. Seeing as it's 5 p.m., I'd like to call to order the regular meeting of the Board of Directors of the Vallecitos Water District for Wednesday, June 17th, 2020. As pursuant to the Executive Order N2520 issued by Governor Newsom, we will continue our meetings and teleconferencing, and the meeting can be viewed by the public telephonically or electronically. If you need any further information on how to connect, it's on the screen at the moment, or you can go to our district's website at www.vwd.org/meetings. That will give you both how to do it and how to get instructions on how to participate. So now we'll move on to roll call. Director Martin.
Present.
Thank you. Director Sanella.
Present.
Thank you. Director Hernandez.
Present.
Director Elitharp.
Present.
Director Evans. Oh, she's not here. Okay, so it's 5 of us in attendance. Now we need to move on to the agenda. Is there anyone who'd like to make a motion for adoption of the agenda?
Move to approve.
Thank you.
Martin.
Thank you. It's been, a motion's been made by Director Hernandez and seconded by Director Martin that we approve the agenda for this meeting. Those in favor will do by roll call. Director Hernandez.
Yes.
Director Martin.
Yes.
Director Stanella.
Yes.
Director Elitharp.
Yes.
And I'll say yes as well. Thank you. It's been passed unanimously. At this moment, we go into public comment, and Mr. Pruitt, do you have any one who's put in any requests at this time?
No. Well, actually, we do just right now. We received no emails by the 3:30 shutoff time, but Mr. Hunsaker did just join us. So if you'd like me to, President Evans, I can allow him to speak at this moment.
That would be great. Would you do that, please?
Okay, Mr. Hunsaker, you can make your comments now.
I want to compliment VWD on its Zoom meetings. It is the best run, the clearest that I have seen, and most of them are simply horrible. And there has been quite an effort by the GM and the IT to get this running smoothly, and it has succeeded quite well. I do want to mention the COVID-19. We're living with some very bad mistakes that were made early on and in some extent continue. Almost half of all COVID deaths were in nursing homes with seniors, most of them above the age of 75. There has been a very little and laxed effort, part of the state and part of the localities, to zero in on this group, which would just about eliminate any need for any lockdowns whatsoever. But I do understand, because we are living within these lockdowns, that there are people who are experiencing problems. I think it's important to give them some latitude, and shutoffs should be sparing, but there should be some firm dates and make sure it's equally applied. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hunsaker, and thank you for the compliment. I would like to compliment our GM, staff, IT, and the board members. I think you've all done a really great job in a tough situation. And I will say you're all very polite and very professional. Thank you very much. We'll move on to our consent calendar now. Are there any speakers on any of these particular items?
I don't see anybody indicating a desire to speak.
All right, then is there a motion to adopt the consent calendar?
Move to approve.
Moved to-
Second.
by Director Hernandez and seconded by,
Martin.
thank you. It's been moved and seconded that we accept the consent calendar. Roll call. Director Sinella,
Yes.
Director Elitharp,
Yes.
Director Martin,
Yes.
Director Hernandez,
Yes.
and Director Evans. Yes, also passes unanimously. And that will move us into item 2.1, which is a public hearing to consider a reimbursement agreement.
Madam President,
Yes, Director Elitharp.
I need to recuse myself on this item since I'm one of the project participants.
Okay, well, we'll recuse you then.
I'll go ahead and audio mute and stop my video.
Okay,
Okay.
all right. We're fine? Okay.
Yeah, I think, so I'll kick it off real quickly, President Evans, if that's okay. So the board may recall back on, I think it was June 3rd, there was an item regarding this project, and the project was the construction of a sewer line extension to service some homes that were formerly on septic. The action that was taken on June 3rd was to accept the public improvements. So now, subject to a 1-year warranty period, that facility is Vallecitos'. The item in front of the board tonight is the approval of a reimbursement agreement, and it is a public hearing that's required to go through. So with that, I guess I'd turn it over to President Evans, and there's a process you have to go through to open the public hearing, and when you want to hear the staff presentation is up to you.
Okay. So this is the time and place for a hearing to consider a reimbursement agreement for construction costs associated with a sewer main. And General Approved, would you like to present the details?
Yeah, so I'll turn it over to James Gumpel, our district engineer, and he'll provide the board with an overview of the project and give recommendation at the end. So I can see James. Can you see the screen that James has up?
I can see his picture.
Okay, the aerial
Yeah.
photograph. Okay, good. So James, go ahead.
Thank you, General Manager Prum. President Evans, members of the board, as General Manager Prum indicated, this item was brought to you for acceptance of the project back on June 3rd, which was the last board meeting. This portion is the second part, which is actually the reimbursement portion of the agreements of the project itself. So basically, as part of the project components and the project participants wanted to seek reimbursement per District Ordinance 180. As part of that, there is a public process which includes sending out notifications to all the project area, which includes now, I believe, 10 property owners and 11 parcels total. So that indicated there was a minimum 10-day notification period. So notices were sent out, and they were also part of the board package starting on page 52. Notices were sent out to all project participants and also anybody that's within the project reimbursement area on June 4th of 2020. And to date, we have not received any comments or letters from any of the project participants or any of the people that are within the project area. As far as the reimbursement components laid out in our District Ordinance 180, there are certain components of the project that are eligible for reimbursement. And on page 52, the staff report kind of lays out what is in and what is out. A total of basically $169,052 is eligible for reimbursement to be split evenly amongst the properties. Now there are 5 participants, which means there are another 5 properties or 5 other single-family homes that are not participating. And if they were to connect within the next 20 years, they'd be responsible for reimbursing the 5 participants their fair share. So the even split of that money, which I believe in the staff report is estimated at around $16,000 and change. I don't have that number right in front of me right now. With that, the notices have been sent out, and today, basically at the public hearing, we could hear from any of the project participants or anybody within the actual a reimbursement benefit area. And unless the board has any other questions, staff recommends that the board hold a public hearing, which it is, to solicit and consider public testimony regarding Walnut Hills Sewer Reimbursement Agreement, and provided that there are no compelling reasons to revise the reimbursement agreement, authorize the general manager to approve the Walnut Hills sewer main reimbursement agreement. And I'd be happy to answer any questions from the board.
And President Evans, if I may add,
Yes.
the exact amount is $16,905.20. That's now. Every year it gets, there's an escalator that will increase that price should somebody connect in the future.
Okay, thank you for explaining that. Does any member of the board of directors have any questions for staff? I see none. And does any member of the public have any comments or questions regarding this issue?
It does look like there's a hand up there.
Okay. Can you find that for me, Mr. Pruitt?
You are on mute still, Director.
Undo it here.
General Manager.
Yeah, so Mr. Hunsaker does have his hand raised, so at this point, I'll open up his mic.
Okay.
Mr.
thank you.
Hunsaker, go ahead.
Just a quick question. What is the escalator? Thank you.
Sure. The escalator is based on the construction cost index. It's indicated in the staff report. Let's see. So it's based on the index of, I believe it's the,
It's the Engineering News Record Construction
you.
Cost Index for Los Angeles. That's the exact index.
yeah.
Okay, and there's no other questions or comments?
Nobody else.
All right, thank you. Well, there being no other persons wishing to address the board, the hearing is closed. Does any member of the board of directors have any further questions or discussion on this topic?
Move to approve. Martin.
Move to approve, and a second?
Second.
Is that by you, Director Hernandez? Thank you. It's been moved and seconded that we approve the Walnut Hills Sewer Main Reimbursement Agreement, and we'll take a roll call vote. Director Martin.
Yes.
Director Elletharp.
He recused
Oh, he's
himself.
not here. Of course, he's been recused. Thank you. Boy, this is a hard decision. Director Sinella,
Yes.
Director Hernandez,
Yes.
and I'll vote yes as well. So passes 4 in favor and 1 recused.
Thank you.
I think that's the end of that item, correct? Thank you, James. Okay. Now we will be moving on to action items, and I'll wait for you to bring Craig back on board.
Yep. Oh,
That's a great picture of Matthias.
oh yeah. Director Elletharp, you may have to turn your, I can't turn your microphone back on. There you go.
There you
All right.
Okay, he's
Sorry,
back
Director.
on. I don't have him on my screen, but I'm assuming he's there. Yes?
He is there.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So item 3.1, the resolution of the Board of Directors of the Vallecitos Water District electing to have sewer service fees for Improvement District A for fiscal year July 1st, 2020 to June 30, 2021, collected on the tax roll.
Move to approve, Martin.
Thank you. I'll second that.
Hernandez.
Do we have any discussions? Okay, roll call. Director Elletharp. He has his mic off.
No, now he does.
Okay. Director Sinella.
Yes.
Director Hernandez.
Yes.
Director Martin.
Yes.
Still can't.
Director Elletharp.
Yeah, he can't hear us.
Okay, and Director Evans is a yes. So it's
Hmm.
4 and 1 absent. Mr. Director Elletharp absent.
Our public speaker jinxed us.
We
Yeah.
have what? Oh, that's it.
We were doing good.
From the IT folks that are on, is there any assistance we can give to get Director Elitharp's microphone back?
Yeah, I'll try to jump into his machine and see if I can take care of that for him real quick.
Okay, I don't know, I don't think he can hear us.
Yeah, the quick option might be to log him off and log him back on again, but I'll see what I can do.
All right, thank you.
Should I wait? Just for a minute?
Yeah.
I would
Yeah,
like to.
I'm texting with him right now. Okay. Yeah, we're trying. So I'll leave it up to you, President Evans, if you want to take a slight pause and see if IT can resolve it, or,
I would like to take a short pause, not a long one, but if
okay,
you think it'll be just a minute or so.
yeah, I think so.
Hey, Glenn, it looks like Diane might be having trouble connecting as well to the audio. At least it says connecting to audio.
Yeah,
Could be just connectivity issues.
yeah. Yeah, I see her trying to come back in. Yeah, we did get the jinx from Mr. Hunsaker, didn't we? So Matthias or Jonathan, should we ask Director Elitharp to log off and try to log back in?
I'm getting in his machine right now.
Okay,
Actually don't see.
President Evans, I actually have my hand raised, if that's okay, if I could speak.
You have your hand raised?
I do.
Who are you?
I raised my
Are you
hand.
public? Okay, I missed it. I didn't see it. Oh, there you are.
there it is.
Okay,
Yeah,
you may speak.
Okay, I just wanted to mention something really quick. The resolution that we just went through roll call on, that actually sets a public hearing for the July 15th board meeting.
Yeah.
Okay,
So,
now you tell us.
So that was the second part of that. I had a whole speech prepared, but you guys, we already approved it, so that was easy.
I know, I was just getting ready to say who would do the presentation and we were quick.
hey Craig,
gotta stay up with this.
Craig, can you hear us now? No? Wes, is there anything else you needed to say, or are you just letting them know that this will be coming back and,
Yeah, so it not only elects to continue to collect the sewer fees on the tax roll, but it also sets the public hearing for July 15th. And then we'll be approving the actual fees on July 15th. So it's a dual purpose resolution.
And this is the tax roll that we do every year,
Yes, that's correct.
collection. So that's why I think we got such a quick response.
Excuse me. Yeah, that was my quick motion is we do this every year and we really didn't need to hear from you, but that's okay.
But now that we're wasting our time waiting, you
Exactly.
you do your presentation.
Yeah.
I just had to get my 2 cents in, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I know.
You used up your
Water
time with the
bottle.
budget hearing.
I know.
You're trying to get FaceTime on TV.
Jonathan, any success?
Nothing yet, no.
Is there any downside to having him just terminating and logging back in?
Yeah, I'm gonna do that for him actually right now.
Okay. Yeah, it doesn't sound like he can hear us, or we can't hear him either.
Well, I appreciate everyone waiting. I think I'd like him to hear the presentation on the
Oh, he
interceptor.
can hear us now. He's
project.
waving.
Oh,
I can hear you now.
Okay,
Oh,
we can hear you too.
ah,
So,
Thanks,
We need
Jonathan.
thank you, Jonathan.
okay.
Sorry about that.
We will be moving to item 3.2, the construction contract award for the San Marcos Interceptor Project Phase 2. And our presentation will be by
I'll kick it off and then I'll turn it over to Ryan.
Mr. Brum.
So the board may remember that I think it was the last meeting during the GM report, I informed the board that we had a bid opening on this project. So what's in front of the board tonight is to actually award the contract for the construction of the San Marcos Interceptor. So with that, I'll turn it over to Ryan Morgan.
Thank you, General Manager Pruitt. Good evening, President Evans and directors of the board. It's my pleasure to be here tonight to present the long-awaited construction contract award for the San Marcos Interceptor Project Phase 2. As many of you, I'm sure, are aware, the San Marcos Interceptor Project consists in total of replacing approximately 12,200 feet of existing 1960s era 21-inch diameter sewer pipeline. This project was initially budgeted for in the 1991 master plan, where design efforts began and construction started on early phases of the interceptor around the turn of Y2K 2000, 2002. Since then, the project has been moving forward with subsequent phases of design and construction. Those phases are listed on page 75 of your board packet. Phase 2 is current phase, extending from Via Veracruz to Pacific Street, which will complete the remaining 3,400 feet of 42-inch diameter sewer interceptor. On September 26, 2019, the district advertised a request for proposals to bring on board a construction manager, realizing the gravity of this project was going to require a CM. 4 total firms were invited to present their experience in construction management and inspection services on similar sanitary sewer improvement projects. The 4 firms included Valley CM, Riley CM, Michael Baker International, and MJS Construction Management. On October 25th, 2019, staff received a total of 2 proposals from Valley CM and Riley CM. Staff reviewed the proposals for conformance and qualifications. Valley CM was selected as the most qualified consultant, with scope including construction management, inspection services, geotechnical engineering services during construction, and environmental monitoring, including environmental biologist monitoring. Valley CM's time and material not to exceed project fee was $493,614. Kennedy Jenks, the design engineer of record on the project, and staff finalized project bid documents in February of this year and began advertising for bids in March of this year. The engineer's estimate for the project was valued at $6.7 million. May 28th, district staff received and opened bids from a total of 10 contractors, with bid results as shown on page 76 of your board packet. The low bid was TC Construction at $6,310,315. Staff and council have reviewed the bids and determined there were no irregularities and there were no bid protests. Staff and council completed the evaluation of qualifications, references, bid forms, and determined that TC Construction was the lowest responsive and responsible bidder. In addition to Valley CM's scope of services previously mentioned, Kennedy Jenks will provide engineering services during construction. Staff will provide active project management services and inspection oversight services throughout construction. Fiscal impact is shown on page 76 and 77 of your board packet. The project was identified in fiscal year 2021 budget with a total amount of $8.5 million. Project funding sources are divided 29% from sewer replacement and 71% from the sewer capacity funds. Total estimated cost and budget summary, as I mentioned, are shown on page 77. And with a total of $8,340,000 estimated with all the services included, as previously mentioned, including a 5% contingency in accordance with ordinance number 146. Staff estimates a budget surplus of roughly $160,000 on this project, which is inclusive of all services. If there's no questions at this time, staff will move forward with a recommendation for the San Marcos Interceptor project Two recommendations, the first being to authorize the general manager to enter into a professional services agreement with Valley CM in the amount of $493,614 for construction management, inspection, environmental monitoring, geotechnical engineering services during construction. Second, authorize the general manager to execute a construction contract with TC Construction in the amount of $6,310,315, subject to the provisions of the contract. And at this time, I'll take any questions you may have.
Thank you, Ryan. I have one for you. It was exciting that you had 10 people apply for this. Have we used TC Construction before? Are we familiar with them?
I will let James field that question for his knowledge and history here at the district.
Fair enough.
Yeah, thank you, Ryan. Yeah, Madam President, TC Construction has actually built a pump station over up at Twin Oaks, that Twin Oaks pump station for us back in 2006, 2007 era. And they've also, the North Twin Oaks pump station. And they've also built the North Twin Oaks tank for us. And I've also worked with them previously when I worked down at Otay Water District. And I also worked with them when I was a consultant. So I've probably done 6, maybe 7 construction projects with TC in my career, and they're a reputable local contractor.
Well, that's good to hear. I like that we've used someone before and that they also came in as our low responsible bidder, but I just didn't recognize the name. Thank you. Are there any other questions or comments from the other directors?
Martin, one question.
Yes.
James, on the other 2 projects that they did for us, were there any change orders?
They were a while ago, Director Martin. I could look them up, but I don't recall anything large or significant.
So they realized that's the way we roll.
I believe so.
That's Director Sessions.
Any other questions or comments? I would say it's nice to see you starting off with a expected surplus, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
That's pretty nice.
President Evans, we do have a
I'm
speaker.
glad those are crossed. I won't tell you what that looked like from here. Okay. So we have a recommendation. Do we have any comments from the public?
Yes, we do, President Evans. We have one speaker. It's Mr. Hunsaker, and if it's all right with you, I'll allow him to talk now.
That would be great. I appreciate it.
All right, go ahead, Mr. Hunsaker.
I've noticed in the studies that were done by Atkins that there was a subtle error in the calculations of capacity. One of the issues that comes up is the difference between a pressurized and unpressurized line. And I wanted to make sure that that was corrected. I think it's a square is what they used, and it's a 2.5 factor exponent. My main concern is that obviously the old pipe, I think, is fully amortized. It's gone as far as any value. And I want a fair share of the cost to go to the new development, not to the community at large. And I want an extra effort to make sure that we are fair. One of the complicating factors that is coming up is that there's a bunch of laws coming in from Sacramento, which will probably come into force right after the election, which says if you got a small amount of affordable housing involved in the project, that there's all sorts of bonuses for density. And in some cases, they're even suggesting that all facility fees be waived for these projects. I think that we have to be very, very keen on analyzing what these new projects really turn out to be, and that ensure that the other ratepayers are not overly burdened for a transfer of these individuals' investors' costs onto the community at large. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Any others? to
Move
speak?
to approve, Martin.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded by,
I'll second that, Director Elithorp.
thank you, Director Elithar, that we authorize the general manager to enter into a professional service agreement with Valley CM for construction management, inspection, and engineering services, and also authorize the general manager to execute a construction contract with TC Construction. And we'll take a roll call vote on that. Director Martin,
Yes.
Director Elithar,
Yes.
Director Sinella,
Yes.
Director Hernandez.
Yes.
I will say yes, also passes unanimously. Thank you. And that is the end of our action items for the day. So we'll be moving on to reports, and that brings us to the GM.
Yeah, is my microphone on?
I can hear you.
Okay, good. Just a few items, just an update for the board. In July, so just next month, the district's solar provider will start installing solar panels at the Twin Oaks Reservoir site. Installation should be completed in about September or October, but then we'll need to wait for SDG&E to conduct their final approval and to allow the energy production to commence and to be tied into the grid. So this is a pretty big step towards significantly lowering our energy costs. We're still working with the city of San Marcos on the site development plan issues for lift station number 1 site. So that'll be lagging behind the Twin Oaks site. So one other item to talk about is water sales highlights. Every month, and I'm going to try to share a screen here. Can you guys see this screen here?
Yes.
Yeah.
So every month we include a report in the board packet that talks about water sales and water purchases. And in light of COVID and the budget decisions we made, I just wanted to share a little bit of information with the board. So this chart is on page 21 of the board packet. The top chart shows our water sales. This is to our customers, and it breaks it down in between residential, irrigation, agricultural, and commercial. And then the 3 bars indicate the last 3 years. So year to date for fiscal year 18, fiscal year 19, and fiscal year 20. And you can see from fiscal year 18 to fiscal year 19, our overall water sales were down 10.2% at this time of year. And this year compared to last year, we're down about 5.3%. So it kind of begs the question, is this COVID related or is it just weather pattern related? So I just wanted to let the board know that these are the types of things we're looking at. So the water sales are what we call a lagging indicator of usage. And that means the usage actually occurs before we report it out. And that's because of our meter reading and billing process. So for example, the sales that were reported in May, the water was really used in April. But the bottom chart is what I wanted to point out. And this is the water that we purchase from the Water Authority to provide to our customers. And these reflect, the bars here reflect the actual amount of water that we purchased here. So this black line here shows for the current fiscal year, that's what we budgeted. That's how much water we thought we would be purchasing from the County Water Authority. And the golden bars are kind of what we did purchase. And I'll draw your attention to March and April. You'll see there's a big difference between what we had budgeted and what we actually purchased from the Water Authority. So being in this COVID era, we took a look at that, and we also looked at the weather patterns. And if you remember, March and April were both cooler and rainier than usual. So we think that was the largest reason that the water sales were down. As we moved forward in time, and you look in May, our actual water purchases from the Water Authority were actually greater than we had budgeted. So when the rain stopped, when the weather warmed up, it seemed like our water sales recovered. And I think the important thing to note is that nothing really changed with COVID over that period of time. So the big change from March and April to May is mostly related to weather. So I'm hopeful, and I'm optimistic that the water sales and the water purchases will track more with the weather than with COVID. So I'm hopeful that the COVID impacts aren't going to significantly impact us from a revenue perspective, and remind the customers that the water's been readily available and of superior quality the whole time. And just a quick reminder to the board that starting in July, we will be giving monthly reports on these types of metrics and other metrics to let you know how our budget estimates are panning out as we go forward. So with that, I'll stop sharing that screen unless if the board has any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
I was wondering if there was any desalinated water in our water purchases from the Water Authority.
Yes,
And-
yes.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yes,
And
there
also,
were.
I have one quick.
one second. I also wanted to say your mic is going in and out when you're speaking. for
Okay,
me
it's
to
probably,
click.
yeah, it's probably because I'm looking at another screen. I apologize for that.
Okay, I just wanted you to be aware.
Okay.
And who was that? Was that Director Martin?
Yeah, Martin, I wanted to know, all your graphs and all your numbers, are they coming from Michael's 500,000 numbers that he could give us at any given point in time?
Yes, Mr. Arthur's numbers populate this graph. That's where they all come from.
Good job, good job. Thank you.
Yeah, and I just, President Evans, I just have one more item. Just to talk a little bit briefly about upcoming board meetings. And just want to say that I think the COVID situation appears to be improving in some ways, but there are still public health order restrictions that would make in-person board meetings pretty difficult. So if we tried to conduct our kind of standard pre-COVID board meetings, there'd be a lot of changes we'd have to make. We'd probably have to be wearing facial coverings or install partitions between board members. We may have to rearrange seating or utilize other means to ensure that we're meeting safely. So in order to continue to protect the health of our board members, our employees, and the public, we're going to continue to conduct our public meetings via the Zoom video conferencing like we are tonight for the near future. And for planning purposes, if anybody's trying to plan vacation, I would say definitely for the 2 meetings in July, those will be conducted remotely. And we'll continue to monitor the situation with the state and the county health officials. And we'll resume the in-person meetings when we can do so safely and in compliance with the county regulations. That's all I had to share. And if the board has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Gentlemen, do you have any questions or comments?
Can we wear funny hats?
That's a
Only
dealer's
if you don't
choice.
have your visual on.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, and now we move to the District Legal Counsel.
Thank you, President Evans. I just had one item. I would like to work with GM Pruitt to schedule legal counsel evaluation. We've been doing this for 2 years, and I'd like to set that up to get input from the board on and staff as to how BBK is performing, and to give you kind of my assessment of the performance the last 2 years, the issues that we've dealt with, and suggestions on issues that we've seen as we've come up to speed, becoming your general counsel. I've appreciated the opportunity. I would really like to get something set perhaps in August or so, to do that evaluation and get your feedback.
Okay, is that a possibility, Mr. Pruitt?
Yep, I'll work with Mr. Gilpin and we'll set something up and put it on the agenda.
Okay, thank you for asking for that. The San Diego Water Authority had a special engineering operating committee meeting on Thursday last via teleconferencing. It was mostly about moving forward with energy storage and hydropower. There's some great possibilities available. It will take a little bit of legislative work to get it clearly open, but we do have, as the Water Authority, they have, I think it's just a 1% amount of kilowatts out of Hoover Dam. And even that, if they can get it right, they'll be able to make quite millions of dollars of savings. And the water storage efforts and energy efforts they're making are going well, but it's just taking a lot longer than anticipated. And then actual next full board meeting is next Thursday. So that would take us to Encino Wastewater. So I'll just ask, did Director Hernandez?
Yes, we had a meeting this morning,
Oh, cool.
and let's see, we discussed the secondary clarifier. And we discussed the cogen building repair and the odor reduction facility. Spent a lot of money there. And I have the details if anyone's interested, but our next meeting is July 15th.
Thank you. And Director Martin,
Our next board meeting is the 24th.
the 24th. Okay, great. That moves us to standing committees. I don't know if we've had any of those. No standing committees have met. And do any directors have reports on meetings, conferences, or seminars attended? Yes, Director Elitharp. Director Elitharp?
Yeah, I participated in a AWWA webinar on June 5th. The title was Workforce and COVID-19 Utility Solutions. June Lopez, General Manager, Molten Miguel Water District, moderated the webinar. The panel consisted of people from utilities and the EPA, utilities from all over the country. And I just want to say it was a great webinar, and I haven't heard anything that anyone else has done in relation to COVID-19 that our staff, our general manager, hasn't done here. So commend staff for doing a great job.
Thank you. Any other directors? No, then that's the end of reports. And under the business, we move to in meetings. Is there anything to report? End of business. How about comments on agenda? Oh, we're so quick and quiet tonight. So that makes the time to adjourn. So I'd like to thank you for all of you who listened in. Thank you for participating. Thank you all. I'm very proud of this board and how you handle this situation. I really am. And I wish you all a wonderful evening. We are adjourned. Thank you.